All right, how we doing, guys? Welcome to Marvel Madness Comics Podcast. I am Brandon. I'm joined, of course, by my two co-hosts, Carl and Trevitt. How we doing, fellas?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, man.
Carl's back this week after a quick little hiatus last week. How'd that go for you?
Carl.
No.
Hello. How'd it go?
That's what happens when I have to be at work at 3 o'clock in the morning. We don't start recording till midnight.
Yeah.
That's my fault. Forget what happened last weekend.
Trevor's friend from Florida came in.
Yeah.
Trevor had a social life. I think I went to see Wonder Woman the night before, and I was fucking exhausted. I don't remember. But anyway, we'll get into things here. We go over what our mission statement is real quick. I summed it up for you. Not going to be quite as long as it was the first 5 because this is episode 6. Again, we like to highlight 3 to 4 books for you on the Marvel Madness Comics Podcast each and every week, bringing you a bit of a glimpse into the Marvel comic book universe. We mix up the action by keeping up to date on some of the news, titles, and fun facts, general things that go on in Earth Prime or 616. Whatever the hell Marvel decides to end up calling it. And we've divided those books up into the following categories, and we cover them in a buy, borrow, or forget it altogether format. Our categories are the Spider Family, which is covered by me. Carl, why don't you explain your division, your grouping you cover?
So I do the Hero and Cosmic Family. That is everything that is hero-based, villain-based, space-based, that doesn't have X-Men, Inhuman, or Spider-Man as main characters.
Yeah, so you run quite the gamut there. You don't know what Carl could pick each week. It's gonna vary. It's gonna be different. And Trevitt, what's coming from your side of the fence there?
I got the X-Men and Inhuman stuff. So anything with an X-Men character or an Inhuman character, that's what I get.
Yep. And we give you one of each, and we throw a group effort together and let you know how the main event title is kind of coming out, and we also rate that as a buy, borrow, or forget every time one of those drops. And we had a busy month of May in that regard, and probably a less busy June and July. I think 2 each month going forward.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
Is the plan right now, and July, the first issue of July, we'll let Trevitt cover that when we get to news, as far as news regarding Secret Empire goes. But that's how we cover things. That's how we split everything up. If you guys are looking to contact us, you like what we do, you hate what we do, we got a few different ways to get a hold of us. We have an email address, and Carl mans that station. That is marvelmadnesspod@gmail.com. Any email this week besides spam or Twitter followers?
Just Twitter followers.
Yeah.
Guys, send me email. We'll talk about it on the air. Any questions about the Marvel 616 or any books we're getting ready to cover, send it out our way.
Yep, and that's where you can get a hold of. Again, Carl runs the email over there. We all chip in on the Twitter side of things. That's at MadnessMarvel1. We like to retweet your comic book polls and things of that nature. We keep it Marvel related. We throw up some movie trailers this week. Countdown to big summer movie season and next year coming around. And also some digital codes and things might pop up there every once in a while. So give us a follow on at Marvel Madness 1. Again, that's on Twitter. And we can also be found on Podbean. And then any other podcast catcher you guys use. I'm trying to get Google Play still situated. There's something RSS feed related I can't quite figure out yet. But that should be up shortly. I'm hoping this week I figure it out. That's my goal. But rate and review us on iTunes. What's up?
I'll say that should be, you need to get the iTunes RSS feed off that and put it into Google, and they take it from there.
Is that the one I need?
Yeah, that's what you need.
All right, I'll check that out when we finish here. But rate and review us on iTunes. We'll give you some digital codes for doing that. And again, email us or DM us on Twitter, and we'll shoot those out to you if you rate and review on your podcast catcher of choice. And we'll read those live on air. I didn't see any new ones this week. Did you see any before we went on? I didn't check today, but
I checked as soon as you said we were getting ready to start recording, and the only thing we had was what we had covered last week.
yeah, we got 2 so far. So again, help us out. That gets us higher up in the rankings, lets us be heard, and gets the word out about the madness we talk about here. With all that basic bitch stuff out of the way, skip right to the news section, and Trevor's going to take over and let us know what's going on in the world of Marvel Comics as far as news goes. Let me get a clap in here so we can. All right, go ahead so I can slide the song in over that clap.
So it was a slow news week this week. I got a few things. I got 3 things, but it was pretty slow. There wasn't a lot of things announced. Not a lot.
Yeah,
of things
I didn't see anything either.
Happened. But top of my list, I got Punisher End of Days. So it was announced this week that Brian Michael Bendis would be writing a new series called Punisher End of Days, similar to his Daredevil End of Days. All the talk came about when he was discussing his appearance of Punisher in the upcoming Defender series with Marvel.com, which I find a little bit ridiculous. Like he talks to Marvel.com like it's a news source. Like,
yeah, I know. Is
this
an OGN or is this like an individual issue type thing going on?
It's gonna be like a mini or like a maxi, like 10, 6 to 12 issues, I think. Like the Daredevil one. I think it's actually Daredevil. The Daredevil one was 9 issues, so 8 or 9 issues.
Is it an in-continuity story?
Not really. It's kind of like an Elseworld story. Like supposedly it's gonna run alongside the current Punisher series, but it's supposed to be like the last Punisher story, kind of like it was for Daredevil. Like,
yeah.
But he had a funny quote. He called it. It's not a sequel to his Daredevil series End of Days. It's a side quill, which I found a little ridiculous. He's like,
I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know what that means. He's like, this won't be a sequel. Instead, it's kind of like a side quill, like Punisher. It's in that world that Punisher is trying to attempt his final punish. I can take that for whatever it's worth. Like, I think we're in for a lot of Frank Castle conversations. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, he's been 50-50 with me lately, so we'll see what happens. But next up,
yeah, we all know I'm not the biggest Bendis fan, so I'm not going to try it unless you tell me it's fucking the best thing since sliced
And I can
bread.
promise you we will cover it on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, he's 50-50 with me for the most part. Like half of his, actually, I like the 2 Iron books for the most part. I mean, I like Invincible a little bit. And
I love Invincible way more than Infamous.
And yeah, I like Infamous, but I hate how he's always like catching you at the end of every issue. Like it's always like a cliffhanger that just never seems to get resolved in the next issue. It's just like another cliffhanger, but it's the same cliffhanger. Like how many cliffhangers can we end with the Maker? Like for crying out loud. But anyway, next up, the Black Panther trailer dropped about 2 days ago during the NBA Finals and all over the internet, and it looked pretty good. I think it looked pretty good. This is coming out in February. Sweet. Yeah, it looks pretty sweet.
Besides, whoops, sorry, I keep stepping on your toes here.
No, go ahead.
Besides Spider-Man, that was the sweetest. Just because I gravitate towards Spider-Man shit naturally, but besides the Spider-Man trailer, that was the most excited for a Marvel trailer I've been in a while because that looks sweet.
Yeah, it does. It really does look sweet.
I still haven't seen it.
No, it looks great.
Dude.
Wakanda.
I put it on our Twitter. You should go watch it. Seriously, it's worth it.
I'll catch it on break.
Wakanda looks great. Michael B. Jordan looks great. Chadwick, everybody looks great. And
I love how it
started off. Michael B. Jordan, yeah, he's the bad guy.
That's
him
sweet,
and the dude from the beginning, the guy from Iron Man 2, Ulysses Claw. Yeah. It's gonna be dope. And I like how they Everett Ross is like in it because he had a big part in the Christopher Priest run of Black Panther, so it's cool that you can tell what's his name, Ryan Coogler did his due diligence reading the comics and whatnot. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it does look. I thought it looked super sweet, like just all the stunts and everything, and I don't know. I'm pumped for it.
The music I found a little off-putting. I mean, it was by one of my favorite rapper producers, this dude named LP, but I don't know. It kind of threw me a little bit. Like I loved the trailer, but the music was just like I was like, it kind of doesn't fit. Like it didn't feel like it fit to me. It threw me off. But All right, next up we got Secret Empire #6 delayed with a price hike. So you got to pay for that waiting, which is nice. But
It comes with a page count too, at least.
yeah. So this week it was announced that Secret Empire #6 was getting 8 additional pages with a price hike from $3.99 to $4.99. That's the wait because they're adding the pages. It was pushed back from July 12th to July 19th. And with the delay being a bummer, at least you get the extra pages out of the deal, even though I have no idea what purpose the 8 pages are going to solve, because it could have been in the next issue, or whatever. Like the story just feels like it's going a little slow right now. But it had a page count of 40, and now it's up to 48 pages, which is a pretty hefty page count.
Yeah, I know. All those books, I feel like I'm like, this has to almost be over, and you're only halfway through it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God!
No, it doesn't have Andrea Sorrentino on it, so I'll be excited to read it.
Yeah, it's Lionel
for art.
I could use a change too, to be honest with you.
We got you on art, which is pretty cool. He's a really good artist, and I mean, that's cool. I mean, it's only a week, so that's great. It's not like Civil War, which was like a month or something. So as long as this is the only delay, I'm okay. And at least there's a good reason. They're adding pages,
Yeah, Civil War at points was delayed. I think it didn't even come out for certain months of its release schedule. You know what I'm saying? There was probably July, I think, or August, where it totally missed its scheduled releases and never came out that month.
Did they change the release date of 7? Is it going to be 2 weeks straight of Secret Empire?
No, they didn't say. It wasn't in the story. I think it might be as planned.
This one so far, yeah.
I mean, the bright side is because it's bi-weekly, you only still wait 3 weeks, so it's not like you're even waiting a month. So that's cool.
Yeah. At least it's moving along. It's not a massive delay, just a week.
Yeah, I can forgive that.
So, anything else we got there?
No, that's all I got. I mean,
right. Wait, what'd you say?
Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, all I looked up that you didn't mention was, and I wasn't even really looking it up. It was just something I retweeted because I didn't realize it was so close, and that Spider-Man is less than 30 days away. So, comes out on July 7th, and that's the next Marvel movie on the release schedule.
That'll be the next movie I see in theater with my 7-year-old.
Yeah, that should be fun.
That's gonna be my nephew's first real movie. He's like 4, and that's gonna be the first real movie we take him to because he's obsessed with Spider-Man. So
yeah, I haven't watched any of the most recent trailers, so I haven't seen it since the first full-length trailer. I've been ignoring all that shit, so we'll see.
Looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it does. Awesome. It does from the first one I saw, and I just didn't want to see anymore. I'm like, ooh, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, it does. It shows you a lot in the previews. They really do.
Yeah,
they show you a lot, and they leave you kind of confused because I'm like, I don't know if certain things look like it take place in the beginning and certain things take place later in the movie. I already found out some plot points from the preview. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Show you a lot.
Well, we'll see that July 7th or that week, and we'll let you know what we think. Other than that, let's get right off to our books. Oh, sorry. That being said, where are we at? Oh, yeah. We're going to start off with Iceman #1. This is IVX section, so Trevitt is going to take over from here. Trevitt, why don't you recap Iceman #1 for us? We'll chip in with some thoughts, and then we'll let you know what our final verdict is as far as buy, borrow, or forget it altogether. All three of us will chime in for as far as that goes. Trevitt, take it away. What goes on in Iceman?
All right. So, I was really excited for this book. I was really excited for this book. So we start off with the first wait, I want to say who's the writer, who's the artist, and all that garbage. Yep. I was gonna say that I was gonna do the solicit, but I forgot to look it up. So
I'll look it up. You take your time with the artist and the writer, and I'll have it up in the.
So we got writer Sina Grace, which I've heard he's written comics before. I don't know if they're any good. And then on the art, we have Alessandro Vitti, who's done some really stellar work on Red Lanterns and Secret Warriors.
Yep. I got it up. So you're good. You don't get to stall anymore.
All right, I'll move through this. But so then we get Rochelle Rosenberg on color, and she colors like half the Marvel books. And we got VC's Joe Sabino as the letterer.
That's not Clayton Cowles. This is he must have had a week off. So
Joe Sabino, or it's either Clayton Cowles, Joe Sabino, or what's the other guy, Joe Caramanga or whatever his name is.
Yeah. All right. So our solicit here is Bobby Drake. They don't say which one in the solicit. So apparently both of them, as we know from reading. But anyway, Bobby Drake has been in the superhero game longer than most. But while reflecting on what he's accomplished over the years, he realizes the legacy he's built is a few good one-liners and a string of failed relationships. Not only that, but now a younger version of himself has emerged from the time stream. And he's more put together than Bobby ever was, already a world-class hero in his own right, but totally comfortable in his own skin, complete with a relationship and a handsome and human to boot.
Oh, okay.
With a handsome and human to boot.
So they're acknowledging
so this is a new ongoing series. Mentioned Penn, blah, blah. That's all the people you mentioned. Bobby realizes that time is now or never and sets out to build a life and legacy he can be proud of. Be the best Iceman he can be.
Oh boy, that's a long friggin' solicit.
Jesus Christ, I almost passed out. So I skipped the names.
And that pretty much sums up the book, folks. Now,
Yep, that's what we read about.
Oh boy, I don't know if young Bobby's more put together than older Bobby, but
yeah, I think that's a pretty bold statement. I wouldn't agree with either. So.
It really is. All right, so we start off here at the Xavier Institute for Mutant Education, blah blah, fucking blah blah blah, in Central Park, New York City, with Bobby filling out a single. Not stirred. I guess it's a play on the James Bond martini joke.
It's the worst ever. As soon as I read that beginning part, I'm like, oh, we're in for a long issue. I have a feeling.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I read that, I switched books.
I switched books. I laughed because of the curtains. Like for a minute, like when I first just glanced at it, I thought he was like in a tent or something. I was like, is he in a room or is he in a tent?
Yeah, he does look like he's in a blanket fort almost.
He really does. He really does, because you can see the blankets in the back and the curtains on the side. But anyway, so we see him filling out his stupid dating profile, and he says, "Hi guys, I'm Bobby." He doesn't know what the fuck to say. So then we flash over to young Bobby and old Bobby training in the danger room. I guess old Iceman imparting some wisdom and fighting tips and tricks, and God, this issue just sucks. This is so bad. Like, this is the coolest part of the issue, and it's not that great. I mean, the dialogue is just like, like looking to steal some fresh moves from the youth old me. Like, ha ha ha! Like, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The good part is like the action looks all right. This is the best the art is in the issue. I think.
The action in this is the whole entire thing. Like the dialogue is just like, I have nothing that great to say about it. And then the narration is Bobby filling out his 500 words or less of his dating profile, which is basically telling his life story as an X-Man and a mutant.
Yeah, it's not making himself look good either. He sounds like just a sad sack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he really does. He really does. For someone as powerful and it's pretty pathetic. And he kicks young Bobby's ass because he should. He's the older Iceman, so why wouldn't he kick his ass? He beats him in the back with a bat and freezes him in an ice cube. But so then they bullshit back and forth, and they're walking out, and young Bobby meets his Inhuman boyfriend, and they're all squinting at each other. I don't know why.
I didn't know this was because I swear, didn't we just see young Bobby in X-Men Blue #1, like looking for a boyfriend again?
I thought, like he was talking about a social life and looking for something, and he had a boyfriend in IVX. I guess like Stina Grace is acknowledging past continuity that Cullen Bunn's just forgetting about, or maybe I have because I'm with you guys. Like I think he did say that he was looking for a boyfriend, but
And then in the issue where they didn't show up to the danger room practice, he was pretending to be on the phone with his boyfriend when he hasn't answered the phone in like 6 months.
all right, so there we go. That makes sense. And here they are right now. So I guess I think connective tissue. I guess that answers. Why are they all squinting at each other? I'll never know. Bobby looks like Bobby looks like a little doll or something. He looks so weird. His face just looks so fucking creepy right there in that middle panel.
Yeah, in the bottom.
guys are
I
looking
think
at
in
it
the
right
bottom panel he looks creepy as hell too. He does. He looks
really
like a
does.
porcelain doll
He
whose
looks
eyelids have
like-
don't shut anymore.
He looks like Macaulay Culkin from The Good Son. Like he's ready to like hop out of your closet and strangle you or something.
No,
Like,
and in my opinion, the worst art is the first panel of that page, where you get the
Oh yeah.
out of the, where
They
you
don't
get
even
little Bobby breaking out of his shell, and they're just two
Yeah.
Icemen side by side. There's no face on it at all.
You know what?
He looks like a skinny fat Bobby.
The panel next to that really gives that a run for its money too.
Yeah, it does.
No detail at all. It's just like
Yeah.
two colored like globs walking out of a doorway. Slits for a nose. Anyway, so we carry on, and young Bobby invites old Bobby to come to the movies with him and his boyfriend, and he doesn't want to be the third wheeled, and he gets a text from his mom saying his dad had a heart attack. So he runs to the hospital, and we meet up with Bobby's shitty parents.
I'm gonna have a problem with this page about 5 pages later. And
Okay.
When he picks back up his phone and he's typing out his profile after leaving the hospital, he drops it in the mansion and runs off.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So he runs in, he screams, "Dad! Oh my God, you had a heart attack!" And the only thing his dad can say is, "At least he didn't slide through the dirty mutant fuck." But and he's like, "Hey, I do what I can, So what's up? What's going on?" And they tell him his dad didn't have a heart attack. He had a bacterial infection around his heart or whatever. It puts pressure on it and hurts real bad. And so they bobble back and forth. His parents are being shitbags to him, asking him if he's going on dates anymore. Whatever happened to the green-haired girl who would be Polaris?
Who's the green? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Polaris, because they dated back in the day. Like, Jesus, I think it might have been X Factor. And it's funny because a couple weeks ago, I was going through old X Factor digital issues, and I pulled one up where Bobby was like defending Polaris's honor, and it was like a big fucking romantic issue. It's not bad though. It's pretty good. Bobby kicked this dude's ass, which just leads me to like this book. So his parents are being shitty, and then all of a sudden, he hears like a bang or whatever, like a kaboom, and then there's this guy in this ridiculous outfit with a football helmet and high tech gauntlets. I don't know. It looks half Walmart, half Blackwater. Like,
it's all ridiculous.
Yeah, it's all ridiculous. This little Indian British chick is running down the hallway, and she's a mutant, and she's screaming for sanctuary. Oddly, maybe
it looks like a cross between Jubilee and Kamala Khan.
It really does.
The exact same thing.
It really does. I for a second I was like, is that Miss Marvel or who is that? She's got the purple, so you could think it's weird. Jubilee's Asian. Sometimes they color her that dark. Could be her. But so you get this clown, and then Iceman comes out like all roided out, like in a friggin' bladey kind of ice with no costume, which is it's kind of weird. Like I wonder how that works. Like when he wants to be fashionable, like he doesn't freeze over his
I guess
costume,
because he had regular clothes on here and he didn't have a suit on him because he was just coming to visit parents. I guess that's how I imagined it.
That's true. And then he bulks up because the guy's got armor, probably. Because remember the last issue of Blue where Bobby was like in that Hulk mass, which is pretty dope. It'd be cool if he did that here. That's kind of like him doing that, but not really because it's still the same size. Anyway, they fight. He blasts ice at him. He punches him. Blah blah blah. I'm sorry. I have no enthusiasm. We talked about it earlier. And I'm being honest here. Like it's this bad, folks. It really is. The fight's kind of like the fight looks kind of cool. Like it's not, some of the panels look bad. The best panels are the one where he's being Iceman, like when he's getting shivved in the chest, and then when he explodes and the spikes comes out of him, and then he makes that cool wall like he did in X-Men 2. But the guy just blasts through it like it's nothing. You know, I don't know what kind of weapons he's got. Oh, by the way, he's a purifier. I forgot to mention that. Like, we didn't get enough of them in Generation Crap. You know?
I wonder if they're tying Iceman and Generation Crap together.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope not. That would not make any new fans, at least for the people that listen to us.
For either book. For either book. So so he breaks through this wall, and he says the purifiers will persevere. The dialogue is so bad. Like, he kicks in the door and he screams, the purifiers will persevere. And then he shoots a bunch of shit. It turns out to be an ice clone. And he says, this is what he says, I shit you not. The Lord has looked finally upon me today. I nabbed my first mutant. Once I find that little girl, I will be doubly righteous. Like, what the fuck is that?
Like, Steve Orlando scripted this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Did Steve Orlando write this shit? Like, seriously? Noobs. and then Bobby comes in talking like a 15-year-old gamer, and he's like, noobs always fall for the ice decoy trick.
Here's my question. If he's the original Bobby back from the 60s, how could he, or, with current continuity going through,
be like the 80s.
How would he know about the noobs and stuff like that? He'd be out of touch. He's trying to be like the cool dad.
He's a grown kid.
Joke.
He's a grown.
I hate the word noobs. That's like one of the top 5 worst words and phrases in the English dictionary. Or it probably
he's going to use Bay next week.
Dictionary, but no.
Yeah. Oh my God. He better not.
He's going to use Bay
my
next
shit.
Watch it.
I'll lose my shit. It just goes to speak to the dialogue that I haven't read anything by Cena Grace, but I'm assuming it can't be this bad in his creator-owned stuff anyway. Then, Bobby finds his second wind. He finds the second wind, and he like cold cocks the dude. The dude flies back, and he's got like this big ice ball in his hand, and he's like, "Listen, I'm the guy who fought Magneto every time he was a bad guy." Like, seriously, he starts like, I don't know why he's saying this, because like when you beat the shit out of somebody, do you say, "Listen, I'm the guy who fought Magneto every time he was a bad guy. I'm the guy who went toe to toe with the White Queen and got buffer for it," whatever the fuck that means. I got buffer for it. Does that mean he got stronger?
I think he got he got like a power boost somehow.
So,
is what they're alluding to.
Funny side note,
Bobby Drake from Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, well, he's the Bobby Drake from forever since Iceman. And I was reading. Yeah. Funny side note, today I was reading X-Men from the 94 and Uncanny X-Men from the same time, because there was a story arc where the White Queen took over Bobby's body, and he was having
used his power better than he did.
He used his powers better than he did, and he had like confidence issues. And
that must be what he's talking about then, because she must have unlocked something in his mind that he got a boost from.
Yeah, probably, because I think it was Uncanny 315 from like 1994. That happened, and that must be what he's mentioning right there, which is pretty cool, I mean, at least he did his homework. I'm freaking Iceman, bozo. Who the fuck says that? Learn your X-Men. Like, he turns him into a block of cheese. I mean, ice. Sorry.
My beef with this part was the dude mentioned earlier how Iceman's powers have no effect on him until they finally do. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand how that worked either.
Because she's stronger than he thought. I have no clue. I don't know what's going on with that Walmart armor, that it would be strong enough to like protect him from Iceman, which is kind of hilarious. Where did he get this armor? Like, purifiers aren't like organized people. They're like skinheads of the Ku Klux Klan. Like, they're just a bunch of dumb hicks, like, that don't really have access to anything unless somebody who like is driving at like another plot is giving it to them. But this just makes no sense whatsoever. It's just a plot. It's just to give us a little action during this boring fucking story, because then the next page we kick over to a janitor mopping the floor in the hospital, and it's all like the leftover ice and water. So I'm assuming it was hours, unless all that snow evaporates like in the blink of an eye. And he's talking to the chick. I don't even remember what her name is, but
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't remember what her name was.
She'll never show up again, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. And she's like talking about how her mutant powers are lame, and she shows him what her mutant powers. It's the most disgusting fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. She spits in her hand, and she can make it into like blades and ice picks and forks and spoons and shit. Like
It's
it's
just
the
If she ever
most,
goes to prison, she's always got a shiv.
yeah. She's got
Yeah.
a shiv. She's straight. She's straight in a prison setting. You know?
She can form loogies into weapons, basically, is
Yeah.
her power.
She can spit blades at you, which, you know, if she learns how to spit them, I don't know. Iceman's telling her, you know, it could be cool. You don't know. Maybe like
You better always be well hydrated to
Yeah.
have ammo. You
to
know
have
what
all
I'm
that
saying?
spit. I'm like, you know, he's like, who knows? Maybe your powers will grow. You know, maybe you'll sweat out ice picks after this, or
Yeah,
maybe
I
when
don't
you,
know.
who knows? Who knows? Like
Now-
that's the lamest power on the face of the planet. It really is
It's
lame.
disgusting.
I will
Yeah,
say
it's-
this: they do a good callback because when his response is, "All I used to be able to do was throw slushies
Throw
at people." That was
snowballs.
his, that was his powers through his first run of X-Men.
Yeah, that's true. He used to throw fucking snowballs at people. He used to be a lame-o. So like he was like the Aquaman of the '05, like straight up.
Which means if this person didn't actually go back and read them, they went to the same page I did for the facts for Iceman. He just got their research that way.
That's probably what he did. So after the pep talk with this British Indian girl, he makes it back into his parents' room and he's like, "Hey, I killed the guy." And no, he's like, "I stopped the guy." And his mom's like, the first question his mom asked, "What a fucking piece of shit." She's like, "Did you kill anyone?"
Right? Like
And
he
his
goes
mom-
around killing people like he's a serial killer. What the
That's
fuck?
what I do every day, Mom. I go out and I stick ice picks in people's necks like I'm an evil mutant. Like hate me. And his dad's like, "Hey, it's already on the news," because he doesn't give a shit about anything that's going on. And you know, he's like, "I didn't kill anyone, Mom. I'm a human." And you know, she's
I'm
just
always
like,
a mutant.
yeah. He's like, yeah, because she's like, you know, when you're a mutant, and he's like, "I'm always a mutant," you know, and she's just being a piece of shit. And then she asks him to leave because the news is coming and they don't want the attention. It's fucking stupid. Who gives a shit about his pet? We're never gonna see him again. Like what?
know.
Issue number 4, like all of a sudden he's gonna show up at Mom and Dad's house and we're gonna have him see him have brunch or tea or what later down the road.
They're
he's
gonna sit
admit
down
to
and
his-
talk their differences out. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I bet it's gonna be a big story arc later down the road when he tells his parents he's gay. Like that's gonna be a big deal, and you know it's gonna be clickbait. It's gonna be very newsworthy. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but this is an Iceman comic book. It's not social justice time. Like I want to see him have like a big fight. I want to see him do something interesting. Like I don't care. Like you know, like Midnighter and Apollo is a pretty badass series. Like they handled it well, but this just seems more like a social book than it does like a comic book. Like it's just stupid. Like everything, all the fights. It has nothing to do with. There's no plot. There's no real story. You know, he walks out and he talks to himself on the fucking sidewalk. He erases everything he just wrote and puts like a shrugged shoulder emoji, like a retard. Like, and then, wait, what did you say, Carl? He tossed his phone
He
or something?
tosses his phone when he finds out that his dad had a heart attack in the X-Mansion.
Oh, yeah, and somehow he
Races
magically
off,
has it
and
on him.
somehow he magically has it in his pocket of his hoodie when he's at the hospital.
It's part of his ice powers. He can, like,
That's
form.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
He formed
He's
an
got
ice
an
pipe
ice
for a cell
phone.
phone.
Pull phones out of his ass. Now, see, like, this is like a big bummer for me because, like, I really love Iceman. And like, you know what? It'd be cool, like, yeah, if you want to explore, like, the fact that, like, it's been almost 3 or 4 years since Iceman's been gay, and nobody has really actually touched on it in any shape, way, or form. But I'd like to see it executed better than him being on a dating site and going to talk to his parents. Like, it's just so fucking stupid. Like, it's just, I'm sorry. I feel so bad trashing it, but
it's just a dumb book. So
yeah,
that's how we sum up Iceman, because that's literally the cliffhanger. There's no like this is what's coming next or anything really. Although I did peek ahead at solicits, I saw up to issue 4 where apparently he's fighting Dakin. So I don't know how Dakin comes back.
hey, I could go down with that if it's an interesting story and just not a one shit shot. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. So we'll see where this ends up going. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, buy, borrow, or forget it altogether. What do you think, Trevitt? It's your book.
All right, let me. All right, so the art wasn't that great. I've seen Alessandro Vitti do better. I'm sorry. I know he's not listening, but if word ever got back to him, I like some of your stuff. This just isn't it. The story was just stupid. Like I don't know. I just wanted something more interesting and more fun. Like, it's just, I don't know. This is a fuck you 5. Like, just forget this shit altogether. Don't even bother with it unless you get to read it for free, or if you're bored, or you find it in like the dentist waiting room or in a fucking porta-john somewhere. Like, maybe pick it up, but otherwise,
Just to wipe your ass, though.
Yeah,
Don't
maybe
pick it
just
up
to
if
wipe
it's in
your
a
ass.
porta-john. Do not.
No, flip through the first couple pages and look at the pretty cool ice fight. But that's it. Like, I expected better. I wanted better. I wanted this book to be my favorite X-Men book because I love Iceman, and it sucked. Like, that's why I'm being such a shitbag about it, because I'm so disappointed that it was like just this crappy. And some asshole actually gave it a 9.5 on Comic Book Roundup.
I know,
God.
motherfucker. Carl, what'd you think? Buy, borrow, or forget it?
Dude, save your money. Don't even get it free online. Don't even waste your time with this book. Just forget it. The art was terrible. Like, it looked better digitally than it did in paper, but still, even digitally, it was garbage. And yeah, the story was nothing. Like, it was worse than any Steve Orlando book from DC than I've ever read.
Yeah, I would agree with all the previous sentiments. The one thing I didn't want going into this book was a book about Iceman on Tinder, and that's exactly the way it started off. So it was a tough battle on the way up from there for me, and it didn't hit any of the criteria to reach those heights. So Iceman does look like at points, after starting off like pretty skinny and average, to be like hitting the weights in the middle of the issue. So the art is like really inconsistent, as far as like how even the main character looks, even, throwaway bad guys, forgettable story, and his parents are probably the biggest douchebag parents in comic books. And that's saying something, to be honest with you. At least for ones that are still around. Most of them are dead, you know what I'm saying? But forget it altogether. Not as bad as Generation X if we're comparing it to that on a scale of worst to awful, but no, it's a different type of bad. It's forgettable altogether, and doesn't make me want to buy the next issue. So that's where we're at with Iceman. And that then any final thoughts on Iceman before we move on to Daredevil and Carl's hero segment?
I'll put it in my rear view.
Yeah. Just keep on trucking, right? So yeah, that brings us to the hero segment after we can cross off the IVX section of the night.
One thing I wanted to say, I'm sorry. One thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that I have my AC on. It's 68 degrees in here, and I'm sweating just because I was talking about Iceman. See, that's just out of there. All right, I'm done. That's
the opposite effect Iceman's supposed to have on you. He shouldn't get you all sweaty and fired up. You should be cooled down,
Exactly.
That brings us to our hero segment of the night, Daredevil 21. Do you got the creative team and solicit there, Carl, or no?
I've got everything ready.
All right, well, Carl's going to take it from there and sum up Daredevil 21 for us.
So we've got Daredevil 21. Matt Murdock has a bold new plan to eradicate crime in New York City using a massive power of the legal system. But this means he'll have to give up being Daredevil. Guest starring Luke Cage and Echo. Writer for this story is Charles Sewell. Art by Goran Suzuka. Colors by Matt Milla. And letters by VC Clayton Cowell. So he didn't get a week off this week.
Yep, no, he didn't. He's back to work. Yep, might have been one day off. With that being said, Echo, I didn't know who Echo the fuck was. I thought that was Elektra on the cover before I opened the book. That's how new I am to Daredevil. Is this somebody that's always in Daredevil or no?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, anyway, Carl, take it away. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So, like Brandon said, Echo was new to me, so I didn't want to do the guest starring thing for the solicit because it was going to give away some of my stupidity for this book. So we start this issue with Daredevil running recon on a group called the Munition Militia, which he finds hard to do at first because of this garbage truck attacking his senses. at half
As
before
as
midnight.
garbage trucks have been known to do.
Well, yeah, summertime in New York City, they smell like shit.
I know.
But
New York
it's
City
like,
smells like garbage.
yeah, New
Yep.
York City stinks.
That'll happen.
And it's like 15 minutes to midnight, but because of how bad it smells, he doesn't notice anything wrong, which we'll get into that later. So, once the garbage truck leaves, he's able to get his senses to do his sonar thing, where he can see into the building and hear what's going on with all the rest of his senses. And he finds out that this militia is getting ready to stage their attack now. That's going to happen at midnight. So he sends Luke Cage in. He's bulletproof, so he should have nothing to worry about these guns that these guys have. But they're packing a lot heavier ammunition than they thought, which when they start opening fire on Luke Cage, send him straight out the door. Luckily, he's
Poor Luke
bulletproof.
Cage.
Yeah. So my question is, he's bulletproof. Are his eyes bulletproof too? Because I don't know too much about Luke Cage either.
No, I don't think his eyes.
I don't think so.
That's
So,
what
'cause
they
they're-
mentioned. Like
they mentioned they're
like,
going
let's
for
see
his
if your eyes
eyes.
are bulletproof. Yeah.
And Daredevil
I doubt
freaks
it.
out, so he's gonna jump in. But which we find out in the issue, he can't actually touch anybody, because it's something that Matt Murdock did with his boss. That Daredevil wouldn't lay a finger on any of the victims
I think
or
it's
any of
because
the
he's a
bad
witness.
guys.
I think it's because he's a witness. So like, if he's gonna,
So that comes up at the end.
yeah,
But he's trying to build this case against all these criminals, and he's going to use a witness as one of these masked vigilantes to stop crime in the city. So if he can use a masked vigilante as a witness, that'll then make it more valid later on in the court system when a masked vigilante takes down a criminal.
That's the one thing I don't. We're not spoiling really the end here, but I didn't understand. I just don't understand how that works. Why can't, if you punch somebody, that doesn't mean you can't be a witness, right?
Well, they'll call it over abuse by the person who took him down, and they're going to be thrown out of court or something like that.
Yeah, maybe because he took part in the apprehension, or because he's not a cop or anything. But if he was like there to say it, that's a really good point, because it really doesn't make much sense, to be honest.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. But I guess we'll find out why it would matter later on. Maybe next issue or the issue after that.
Yeah.
Charles Soule probably has a good reason.
Yeah, you're right. I'm questioning the lawyer here, which I'm an idiot. But
I'll just
it's not the first time I've been an idiot, so I really am not that ashamed. I'm not worried about it.
Well, this may be something we revisit next month when it comes out again, just to see what happens next. Because this made me so interested that I did go back and read issues 1 through 20 in like 2 days, and I was talking to Trevor about it. I fell in love with this book. Like, this Charles Soule has a really wicked way of telling the story. But Daredevil freaks out that they're gonna be taking aim at Luke Cage's eyes, so he jumps down to help, but he actually can't fight. So in comes Echo, who can duplicate any action she sees perfectly. But Daredevil is so smart that he also takes his moves that she's mimicking and alters them for her body style, her muscle mass, everything. So everything he's doing that she's mimicking is more effective for her rather than him just doing the moves himself in the background.
That was pretty cool. I like that part.
Which I read that and I'm like, holy crap, this is better than Batman right now, who tried doing something similar in the I Am Suicide arc, and it all fell apart there.
Yeah, so that was a cool way. Like, it made me at least quickly understand like what the Echo character was all about. Like, more than just her explaining to people what her powers are in like a paragraph. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's pretty much the point of that, because I don't know if too many people know who Echo is. I didn't, and I went back and reread issues 1 through 20. Plus, I went back and read even further the week before, but I'd never seen Echo, so I didn't know her power set.
Yeah.
But
do you know the story with this Echo chick?
I haven't looked it up yet. I was gonna ask Trevitt that.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in any Daredevil. I've read a lot of Daredevil, and I've never really run into Echo. I'm sure she's probably like a deep cut from Daredevil. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah. All right, keep going, and Travel look it up.
But she takes down everybody in quick succession. And then Luke Cage takes out the last person who's going to shoot her in the head. And they do like in a little interrogation to find out why they were doing this and what their plan was. And they find out they were the distraction. They were the diversion. They were to keep the cops busy while their main plan was going out. And that's when Daredevil's head clears. He remembers the garbage truck. It's 15 to midnight. There should be no garbage trucks in New York City running right now. So he starts chasing after the garbage truck using his sense of smell, and Luke Cage and Echo follow behind him. They catch up to the garbage truck, and he gets close enough to where he could see inside and sees the C4 bomb that's in there. So they take the driver and try to get him to defuse the bomb. He doesn't know how to do it. The head person of the militia set it up. And so Daredevil's plan is, Luke Cage, get in the truck. We're going to drive us off the bridge. And Luke Cage is like, are you sure about this? He's like, trust me. They drive it over the bridge. Daredevil jumps out and grabs Luke Cage with his cane and pulls him to safety. And that is pretty much the end, except for where Daredevil is on the stand, swears to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for the court. For this case against the munition militia, which they only have one guy because the rest slipped away while they were chasing after the bomb.
Yeah, this guy kind of seems like the pussiest of the four too. Like he didn't even get the good one. You know what I'm saying?
No, they got the worst of the bunch, and I think they did that on purpose, knowing that if shit went down, the person who would get apprehended would be the weakest man of the group who doesn't know anything that's going on.
There's a couple of cool. I got a couple cool things about Echo here. Her first appearance was in Daredevil Volume 2, number 9 in December 1999. She was created by David Mack and Joe Quesada. She's an Olympic-level athlete. She's a concert-level pianist. She's a strong martial artist, highly skilled acrobat, gifted ballerina, and has photographic reflexes. And she also goes by Ronin, which was Hawkeye's alias during the New Avengers series by Brian Michael Bendis, and she was also killed off in 2012 in a Moon Knight series.
She's also deaf in this series.
Yeah, she can't hear. That was pretty cool.
But I do have a question about that too. If she's deaf, how did Daredevil talk to her?
I assumed he like signed to her. I don't know. Or she was next to him. So yeah, that's what I assumed. She was next to him so she could read his lips, but Luke was too far away.
I know that's hard to show during art, so I just rolled with it. But yeah, if he basically just repeated what Luke said and
they actually
responded to that.
They actually have a pretty crazy story. Like Kingpin sent her to him to prove his weaknesses, and they kind of like fall in love, and like all this crazy shit happens. I was reading it on Wikipedia. Sounds like an interesting story.
Yeah. Well, that'll wrap up Daredevil 21, right? That brings it to a cliffhanger with Daredevil on the stand.
Yeah.
So we'll sum this one up. Carl will kick it off with a buy, borrow, or forget it. What'd you think?
So, 1 second. I gotta scroll down a little more. So this one is one of those books where the story was strong and the art was fantastic, which makes this book a must-buy for me. It was so good. Like I said earlier, I went back and read the whole series. Like Charles Soule's writing in this was fantastic. It made me remember what a good story is supposed to read like.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a buy for me. So what do you think, Brandon?
Well, this is my first Daredevil comic. I literally don't, besides Netflix, have a great relationship with Daredevil. Not as like I don't like him. I just have never really read his comics. Batman fills that void in my life. But I thought the book had a cool premise with enough hints and like callbacks to previous arcs and things that have happened. Without being too daunting or making me feel lost in the current story. So I thought it was well done and well put together story-wise. And I ended up liking that Echo character a lot. I got a good idea of what she was all about in just a little bit of time. You love the art. I liked aspects of that. Like I like when they do Daredevil's vision and stuff like that. But there were some points where I don't know. It seemed kind of like really dull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But overall, I liked everything about the book. It would be a buy for me, and it does also, make me want to go back to find out what those hints and callbacks Daredevil was talking about were, and read a little more Daredevil than I have. He's been a neglected superhero in my life, and this would make me want to catch up. It was just well done. So, what do you think, Trev?
All right. Well, I love Daredevil. I love Daredevil. Had a lot of good notable runs, especially in the past few years. Like, well, not few years, but like 10 to 15 years. Like Brubaker, Bendis, friggin' now Sewell, Mark Wade's run. But there's one cool thing I want to mention, and it happened in this run where like he had that sidekick, kind of that kid he was training, blind spot, and he set up like this network of people. And like there was a moment where he needed Daredevil, and I think Daredevil was in court, and he sent out all these texts, so all these people for them to say that,
Daredevil Sanctuary.
Yeah. So they could say this message out loud, and he was hearing it everywhere, so he knew that he had to go. It was like such a cool idea, like, and it's such a cool thing to like for his powers, being deaf. I mean, not being blind, but it's pretty cool. But anyway, but to this issue. I really enjoyed this issue. I loved Ron Garney's art, and I love Goran Sudzuka. Goran Sudzuka did this. He's done a bunch of good series that I'm not even going to get into right now. I love his style, and he fills in when Ron Garney doesn't draw, and it kind of complements it. I think Matt Milla is the colorist, so it's the same color, so it's the same kind of styles that Ron Garney does, so it fits together really nicely. I enjoyed the story. We haven't gotten a lot of Daredevil with other characters like Luke Cage in this series. Like I think Elektra showed up. Yeah, like typical stuff. But I forgot about Spider-Man. That was my favorite issue too.
Yeah, that's the callback they mentioned in here that kind of really interested me. They're totally like him and Spider-Man did something, and I'm like, ooh, I remember that cover. I want to go. I might grab that
issue 10.
But the majority of his stories, and the bulk of the arcs usually take place in like Daredevil's self-contained like own universe. Like it just happens in his world, and like every so often they have a feature character. Like they had that Elektra arc, they had that issue where Spider-Man came in. They had this, like, it's a nice break. Like you get that self-contained Daredevil thing, and then you get like someone from the universe to remind you that there's a larger universe at play. I like the lawyer. I like the balance between like Daredevil being on the street and Matt Murdock being in the district attorney's office. Like I think it's all handled really well. It's got a great story. Daredevil is kind of slow to start off with, and then it started to pick up around the Muse storyline, and it's been pretty steady ever since. And this is a buy for me. It's definitely a buy for me. I loved it all the way through. I loved the story. I loved the art. I loved everything about it.
All right. Well, we got a unanimous buy right there after a unanimous forget it. So we are touching all sides of the spectrum here tonight. We're going to take a quick little break here, hit the midpoint marvelous facts, and come back with the final book and the end of the podcast there for you guys. So we'll be right back after this quick little break. All right. So I'm going to stop it here and send you guys a